Alright, so I'm kind of ignoring some of the cars that I've seen around. There's something I wanted to talk about. And again, I've never taken an economics class. And I don't, and so these are sort of thoughts that I'm having that just thoughts that I'm having, because they're kind of like questions. But I probably won't say everything as a question. But here's kind of my thought about this. Like, Russia's land grabbing, it struck me as being just kind of outdated, to be honest with you. I mean, I feel like what was really the point of it? You know, I mean, there's really no reason for it. You know, Russia has plenty of land, and I just feel like it was just kind of like, I mean, in addition to like sort of destroying the autonomy of a neighboring country, I feel like it was really, again, the idea of like misplaced energy people, that kind of thing. I feel like the United States has had some problems in terms of keeping its economy, its economic class is kind of diversified, right? I mean, people have talked for a long time about the loss of the middle class. And it seems to me that places like Russia and China probably don't have really that much of a middle class either. Everyone's kind of in transition. I mean, the United States is kind of in a state of really just constant confusion. Oh look, it's a postal service worker. Yes, well, they have found their focus. The postal service workers, what they know what to do with their day is stalk me, which I also think is misplaced time and energy, in addition to being, criminal. Yeah. So I had a few thoughts about this. The United States should be working on not just preserving but also strengthening the middle class, right? Russia should also be doing that. China should be doing that. And I feel like there's really no reason to just try to it's other stuff you should be thinking about, right? Like not invading countries for no reason, and of course what you say are reasons are not really respectable reasons. What you should be doing is working on strengthening your economy and improving your relationships, your relations with other countries, and trying to kind of do what you were doing before, instead of grabbing all sorts of land, which is developing international trade, and other types of interaction with other countries, and not trying to just kind of establish an old order that doesn't really have any value anymore. I mean, what are you going to do with this land once you've gotten it? You know what I mean? What are you going to do? I mean, you have to also expend energy and time, money, to control it, regulate it, administrate it. Or maybe just continue to have move again towards a very centralized government, and put all sorts of controls on what people do and where they go, what they say, what they think, that kind of thing. What's the point of that? I mean, it's very, there wasn't any reason for it, and it was just a very old style of doing things, which I thought you were going to try to move past, right? That was why your relationships with the rest of the world improved, because you weren't doing that stuff anymore, or you were doing much less of it, or you were trying to move towards, just kind of a democratic ideal. So there's that. I was thinking also in terms of the world economy, and again, here's where I really have, again, it's really, again, a sense of a question. I guess my feeling is that it's not necessarily a bad thing to allow, and I'm using this term kind of broadly, right? Developing countries to start or continue their economic development by allowing them to develop a working class, right? So China would be. Listen, there's a number of countries that are an example of this. China is a big example in terms of just labor being outsourced to that place. And you have so many people, right, in China. But my thought about that is, you certainly should keep some manufacturing level jobs in their countries of origin. There will always be people in every population who do better working in a factory. I worked in a factory. I kind of liked it. It can be just kind of, as long as you have proper protection of your ears, you know, and like other types of protection. And the standards are, oh look, another customer guy. Yeah. As long as the working conditions are okay work conditions, you know, we can just kind of, it's kind of nice in a way, because you show up, you do your work. You don't have to like, you don't have to do a lot of kind of there's far fewer politics, actually, just kind of in just during the course of a normal work day. You spend your 8 hours, you know, your 8 hours, your 10 hours, just kind of, you know, doing your part on the assembly line. Talk with people when you have time, and it can be kind of just like a nice peaceful way to get through the day. And it's, you know, good for students, good for people who don't want to get overly involved, like mentally, emotionally with their coworkers, but like having other people around, you know, people who like to be on their feet, that kind of thing, rather than sitting in an office. So you will always have people who, you know, can do manufacturing jobs, should have them available everywhere, right? But then also there's the idea, I mean, we're kind of, you know, I mean, we've been a democracy for a while now, you know, and capitalists for a while, and it's all right. I think it is all right. You know, there may be people who are gonna jump all over this. I think it's all right to let other countries kind of develop their economy, develop their society, starting with those types of jobs. I think that's all right, as long as the working conditions are to the standards that they would be like in their country of origin, so like the United States. So for example, I mean, you know, and of course the United States has people who don't follow these regulations, but they need to, right? But the idea would be working conditions that are as good as they would be if the manufacturing place was in the United States instead of in China, right? Or in some other, I suppose what we consider to be a fully developed country instead of China or wherever else these jobs are being outsourced to. The working conditions not to be subpar, giving the benefits, making sure they have a living wage, you know, administration being fair, having policies in place to protect people, you know, that kind of thing, and things being up to environmental standards also, which I think is a huge problem. I think there's probably a lot of what happens with outsourcing, particularly for manufacturing, is that businesses who know that they would have to, you know, pay a little bit more upfront to meet environmental standards for their manufacturing businesses if they were in the United States or in their other countries of origin, just like send them out somewhere else. You know, they ship them out to all these other places that are not going to make them conform to those standards. You know, or they'll pay some nominal fee, and then that'll be that. Well, they poison rivers and, you know, do everything else that they do.